Hi, my name is Angel. Welcome back to my channel and happy early Halloween. In the month of October, I wanted to get ready for Halloween by reading some Halloween books. So that's pretty much what this reading vlog is. I read 5 books in here and they all take place on or around the Halloween holiday, and it just gave me everything I wanted for all the spooky vibes and all of the fall vibes. So without further ado, I'll let you guys go ahead and get right into the video. I've started reading my first Halloween book. Today is actually October 1st when I'm reading this, and I'm starting with Kill Creek to kick off the month, kick off the Halloween vibes. I did not know this book was as long as it is. I think the physical copy is listed at 416 pages, but the Kindle copy is 533 pages. So I just got to page 215, which is chapter 16. So I'm not even 50% of the way through. I am 41% of the way through this book, and I wanted to wait a little bit to update you guys because obviously I wanted to get more into the book, but also, to be honest, even if I wanted to update you before then, I feel like I wouldn't have, because this book really pulled me in right from the beginning. I was so captivated. I started it last night actually, just to get a little bit of the ways through it before we actually hit October, and I was hooked right away. It was very hard for me to put it down when I had to go to bed last night, and I've just been looking forward to reading it all day and just absolutely eating it up. So this has been on my TBR for a few years, and I knew I had heard people talk about it, but I guess I never realized just how popular of a book this is. It's very, very popular. A lot of people have read it and a lot of people have loved it, specifically people that I watch on BookTube or other friends that I have on Goodreads. It's just got a lot of people giving it high ratings, and I'm just so excited for it. Let me think of where to start with explaining the plot to you. So Kill Creek is this large isolated farmhouse that has a very dark history, with the owners that have been there all dying and strange things happening. And people describe it like when somebody lives at Kill Creek, the house itself comes alive. It's just the vibe it gives. So after the last owners were there, it was twins, the Finch sisters, and one of them died. She was in a wheelchair and she had a lot of health issues anyways. And then after her death, the other sister was found hanging in a tree on the property, and I think they said she was 91 or something. So since then, nobody's been at Kill Creek, and now we are coming back to Kill Creek. So our story is following 4 horror authors, and I think it's really interesting because they all kind of have different they're in different spaces within the horror community. So we have one author who writes young adult horror and is geared towards high schoolers. It is this very long spanning series, and he's also a Christian author. Then we have this guy named Sebastian, who is kind of the older seasoned author who writes on a typewriter still because that's what he's used to, and it's just very, very famous and really writes a lot of literature. He's got good quality writing, if you know what I mean. And then we have why can't I remember his name? Sam, who is, I would say Sam is our main character. We're following all 4 of these people, but Sam is definitely the one that I feel if you had to pinpoint one main character, it's him. And he is the mainstream horror author of this group. He writes stuff that gets picked up very easily by a lot of audiences, and is just very, very well known for doing that. And then we have what is her name? TC, and she writes a more extreme horror type of things, things that are very, very graphic, sexually explicit, sort of erotic. So those are the 4 horror authors that we are following, and I think that is really, really interesting in itself, because I feel we're getting so many different just conversations about not only the bookish world and publishing and writing, but also delving into horror itself as a genre, which I think is really fascinating, obviously, as a horror reader myself. And there are references to a lot of other famous books and famous authors, and I just think it's like all really, really fun and intriguing in that sense before anything else. But these four authors were all contacted by the same guy who runs this like really popular website for horror specifically, and specifically horror literature, and he's known for being a little bit crazy and thinking outside of the box and doing things that nobody else is doing in this space. So he gets all four of these authors to come to Kill Creek for a 2-night stay. They have revamped the house. They've gotten permission to stay there. They've gone and kind of fixed up some things, cut away the fencing that was there, got some running water, and they have a generator for electricity. And it's like these four popular horror authors, all from different spaces within the horror community, coming together in this haunted house with this dark past. So right now it's Halloween. They are staying the night at Kill Creek, and they have just done this interview. Things got heated, and it's really interesting because even this early on, like, you can see the different ways that the house is influencing them and making them think different ways. And I've seen people talk about in reviews that this story really kicks off once these people are away from the house, and there have even been like references to that in the story, like reflecting on like, oh, if I had known what was to come, like I never would have gone to Kill Creek. And it just makes me more intrigued because I feel like it's going to be like a story of obsession. Like these people are going to leave the house and not be able to get it out of their mind until it comes back to ruin them. I just think it's really, really intriguing, very, very captivating. I love the writing. I love all the references to the horror world. I love the characters. They're so like well fleshed out and given these deep and complex backstories. Specifically Sam, like I said, he is really our main character that we're following, so where you have a lot of backstory on him and different things that he's dealt with in his life that have kind of pushed him in the direction that he's going now and starting his career as a horror writer. And I just think it's really fascinating. I'm really, really excited to see where it goes, and it's just giving me everything I wanted to kick off October. So it is the next day. I'm still reading Kill Creek. I'm about 82% of the way through now. I think I'm on page like 439. So well into the story. I'm still enjoying it, but I will say my intrigue has dipped down just a little bit. It's kind of like it went from a 5-star feeling to like a 4-star feeling. So it hasn't gone down a whole lot. I'm still very much in the story. This is Scott Thomas's first novel, which I think is kind of impressive because I feel like he just did so well. I think this has all the makings of like a true classic horror story. It's got the character development, it's got the story development, the horror elements itself, like the graphic descriptions of things that are happening is just so well done. Just the writing in general, I'm really, really enjoying because it is very descriptive. I can picture everything that's going on very, very well. And in my head, this book is really playing out like a movie. That typically happens when I'm reading. Like I visualize a lot of things as I read, but the way this is written, it's so easy to do that. And I feel like this is one, like, who knows if it ever did get adapted. I feel like it would be very easy to adapt because of the way that it's written, and I think it's just making like the reading experience so much more fun and positive because the scenes in here, I can picture in my head like exactly how the scenes would go in a movie, and I'm just having a great time. It's making it feel so much more captivating and really drawing me into the story. I also think it's really fun because Sam, our main character, not only is he a horror author, but he is a professor. So at the beginning of the book, we come to him in one of his lectures where he is talking about Gothic literature, and he basically outlines to his students the like 4 key components that make like a Gothic story. And then it's really fun because then Scott Thomas takes us deeper into that and shows all of those elements in Kill Creek, and I just think that's really fun. Like, once again, this I think is just a book that if you are like a real horror fan, I think you could enjoy it just on that alone, all of the different references in conversation about horror and horror media and literature, which I mentioned yesterday. It's just going really well, and we are getting to the end now. Things are going to wrap up. We're going to get that conclusion and the resolution, and I'm really, really curious to see how things get resolved with these characters and the journey that they have been through. It's been a great time. I have just over an hour left in the book according to my Kindle. So like I said, I'm going to finish it tonight, but right now I'm going to take a little break because my boyfriend and I watched The Circle on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys watch it, but the finale for this season just released today, so I've been dying to watch it. I'm going to go do that. But if you watch this show, like, please let me know, because my boyfriend and I, it's pretty much our guilty pleasure, and we have seen every episode and every season. Like, as soon as it releases, we're there watching it, and we'd have nobody to talk to about this show, and it gets crazy. Like, we will literally sit there and, like, yell at our TV. So please let me know if you watch The Circle. I'm gonna go watch that finale and then finish this book, and then you guys will see me later. So it is the next day. I did finish Kill Creek last night as promised, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It wasn't like absolutely perfect to me and a new favorite, so it's not gonna be 5 stars, but I did really, really like it. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say that I haven't already said in my other updates, but I will just go on to add, I know I spoke about like the writing and the descriptiveness of the writing, which I really enjoyed, and there were some scenes in here that were actually like very creepy with the things that were happening and the things being described. So I really enjoyed that. The very ending of this book as well, I really loved. Obviously, I'm not going to give that away, but I really like how it ended. So that's Kill Creek. 4 stars. I'm really, really glad that I knocked it off my TBR because it's been on there for a long time. And then I also started my next read, which I am about to finish. So I am reading Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt, and it's going really well so far. I read by the same author, Ritualistic Human Sacrifice, earlier this year, and I really loved the first half of that book. Absolutely hated the second half of that book. I think I gave it like 2 or 2.5 stars in the end, but because I love the first half and I really liked the author's writing, I was really hoping to pick up something else by them. So of course I've been dying to read this one, but I had to save it for October because it literally has Halloween in the title. This is a novella. It is just over 100 pages, and it is like this Halloween folk horror book. And obviously I don't want to give too much away because it is so short, but we have this small town who, the name is Strang. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's strange without an E, basically. And it's pretty much just like a normal thing in this town that after sundown, this supernatural entity comes out, and he is named, well, I don't know if it's a boy. They are named Halloween, and it is just common practice in this town that they leave a treat for Halloween when they come by at night in order to save themselves from being taken by this entity. And by treat, it is a sacrifice of a small animal that they basically leave every single night for Halloween. And I think it's really fun. So our main character at this point is, I feel like, becoming more and more obsessed with Halloween and wanting to glimpse Halloween, and then Halloween itself is starting to come back and taunt this guy and play with him, and I think things are getting increasingly more dangerous, and we are building up to this big event in the town, and it's going really, really well. I really like the writing. I like the story so far, and I'm really curious to see where it goes. I've only got like 30 minutes left in it. Like I said, it's a novella, so it goes by pretty quick, but so far, I will say it is reminding me of the movie Trick or Treat, which is one of my favorite Halloween movies. If you guys love that one, I would definitely recommend this book, because if you think of that movie and you think of Sam, and Sam is pretty much like the embodiment of the holiday and the enforcer of like the Halloween tradition, that is kind of like similar to what Halloween, the creature, is in this story, where it's just this entity that is about Halloween without giving too much away. It's been quite a few days. Actually, it's probably been a couple of weeks since I finished Halloween Fiend, and I just realized that I never went and did my final update, but I really enjoyed this novella. I gave it 5 stars. There's really not much that I can say about it that I haven't already said because it is so short, so I don't want to give anything away, but I really love the direction that this story took, and I think it's like the perfect Halloween read. I would highly recommend it. I think it's going to be like a favorite Halloween book of mine now. I just really loved our main character and the journey that he goes on throughout the story, and of course I loved Halloween. Like, as a creature, Halloween was just so interesting, and once again I really like where the story went and how it ended. I'm still thinking about it even though it's been weeks. I think it's still holding up as a 5-star, and I would totally recommend it. So if you have time to pick this one up on Halloween or the day before or whatever, definitely do it because it's like the perfect holiday read for this time of year. I've started my next Halloween book. I am reading One Must Go by Alex Reed. This is another shorter one. It is just over 200 pages. This is one that is available on Kindle Unlimited, so definitely pick it up. But I am at 38% of the way through now. I wanted to get a little bit more into the story before I give you guys an update, because honestly when I started the book, like, I wasn't quite sure how I was feeling about the writing and the characters, but now that I've been reading it a little bit more, it's definitely starting to grow on me. So we have 3 children that we're following on one Halloween night. We have Sam and Benjamin, who are in 6th grade. They are friends. They've been friends for a long time, but it's not a good friendship. So Benjamin is kind of that kid that is like still very much like a kid. Like, he likes cartoons and he has toys in his room that he still plays with. And then we have Sam, who is on the other end, where he's like over all the like childish stuff. You know, he's just getting to that point in his life where he's like, he wants to grow up. But then Benjamin is still definitely a big kid at heart and still wanting to be involved with childish things, and it's just kind of that period in your life that you go through. So they're definitely outgrowing each other and their friendship, but Sam is also just like really mean. He definitely bullies Benjamin and tries to make him feel bad about liking all of the childish things that he likes, but he's still a child, okay? And you know, Benjamin was really excited because he had this costume that he was going to wear of a character, a cowboy from one of his favorite shows, and Sam was like, no, that's so stupid, like, you're going to wear what I make you wear, and he picks out a dog costume for him, and then of course, you know, the whole time it's just like jokes and, you know, ordering him around and making him like Sam's dog, right? So it's a very unhealthy friendship, and I feel really bad for Benjamin at this point because Sam just like absolutely sucks. And then we also have Maggie, who is not connected to these two at all. She actually lives in a totally different part of town, goes to a different school, and she is an athlete. She's a baseball player, and she's a really good baseball player. So that's pretty much what her entire life is doing sports and going to the gym and going to practice and trying to keep up with schoolwork. So she doesn't really have a social life. She doesn't have friends, like, and she's talked about it multiple times, like, everybody knows her because she is like that star baseball player, but she doesn't have actually any close relationships with any of her peers. So now she has decided to go trick-or-treating in this other neighborhood where she doesn't know anybody, so she doesn't have to be like that one that's alone while everybody else has their friends. So she ends up meeting up with Benjamin and Sam, and that is as far as I've gotten in the book. The whole premise of the story, though, is that there is this like legend, this like urban legend, I guess, of this, I don't even know if it says in the synopsis, it's like some entity, and every Halloween a group of friends is chosen, and they must amongst themselves choose one child to sacrifice to this thing. So obviously these 3 children that we've been introduced to so far are going to be the ones that are involved in this and having to choose which one to sacrifice. So I'm very, very curious to see where it's going to go and how all of the different group dynamics play out, especially because Sam is such like a horrible character right now. Obviously, like, as a reader, you're gonna want to root for him to be the one that gets sacrificed, but I don't know how it will all play out. I'm enjoying it. The writing is definitely very atmospheric. It's really setting the tone for those like fall vibes and for being like this creepy Halloween night, and everything's so dark and it's a suburban neighborhood, and so I'm really enjoying that. I think the only thing that is a little bit weird for me with the writing right now is some of the dialogue. It seems like, I don't know, not totally natural in the way that the people are speaking to each other, but I can kind of overlook that. I do like the depth that we've gotten with our characters so far, and I'm just really curious to see where it goes. So I'm going to work on this today. I want to finish it today. I have nothing else to do today. Today's a day off for me, and I told myself that I'm going to make today a novella day, so we're going to see how many books I can get done, but you guys will probably only be hearing about this one. So I will see you guys later, probably when I'm a bit further into the read. It's a little bit later in the day and I have finished One Must Go. I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. Honestly, I really did enjoy this. It was a very quick, fast pace, just really fun like Halloween read. It does get brutal at some points with a lot of the murder that's happening, and it was just really fun. Once again, very, very fast paced. Like, the whole book obviously takes place only over like the span of this one Halloween night, so it goes by very quickly, but you still get connected to the characters that you're following, and I just think it's really interesting that we're following each of them, and they all have their own like different stories and reasonings for the decisions that they're making. This isn't a book that is trying to leave you with a very big takeaway or a very strong message by the end of it. It's just kind of very fun and entertaining, and that is the purpose of it, and I think it definitely pulls that off very, very well. So if you're looking for a quick and fun Halloween read, this is definitely a good one. We get creepy children, we get that atmospheric Halloween night. It is autumn, it is dark, it's a little bit chilly outside, and there's a lot of murder and blood. And what more could you really ask for with a Halloween book? If you're an OG viewer, if you've been here from the beginning, you know that this fish used to be in the background of all of my videos. We still have him. He's still with us. He just no longer lives on the bed. He lives on the couch down here. Anyways, here's my Kindle. I'm reading Dark Harvest. I started this morning. I read it a little bit before work. I read it on break at work, and I've been reading it tonight since I've got home, and I'm now 50% of the way through. This is a really short one. It's like 180 pages, but it took so much willpower for me to put this book down, because like I'm starving and I need to make dinner. It's almost 8 o'clock and I haven't eaten because I've just been so into this book. Like, it's going so well. I think it's so fascinating, it's so intriguing, and I literally had to force myself to stop reading so that I could come and be responsible and eat food. So safe to say it's going well. Could this be a 5-star? I don't know, maybe. Let me tell you what the book's about. So this is kind of like a folk horror, but it's also like has to do with Halloween and Halloween traditions, which I think is really, really fun. We have a really, really interesting setup so far. So basically this town we're in is a small town, and it's a farming town. So the big thing there is corn. So it's kind of giving like Children of the Corn, Harvest Home vibes. But the thing with this is that once the corn crops like die out for this season, I don't know how it all works, but when the crops die and then they would normally remove them and then like plant the new crops for the new season, they don't remove the dead ones, they leave them there, and then the cornfields become home to many different animals and to our main creature character that we have, who is a big part of this tradition in this town. And he's basically pretty much exactly what this cover looks like. He grows on a scarecrow post, and he's just like this body made of vines, and then he's got a pumpkin head, and it's really, really cool because what happens when he's ready for the night that he comes out to play, Halloween night, he falls off of his post, and there's actually a man who we haven't quite gotten to know just yet, the background of that, how this person gets assigned to this job, but there is a man that is assigned to go and carve the pumpkin head and make him into basically a living jack-o'-lantern. And then what they do is they stuff him with candy. So he is known as the October Boy, and pretty much once he gets his jack-o'-lantern face and he gets stuffed with candy, they set him out on the town where he is going to be facing a team of teenage boys. So all of the teenage boys in this town from ages, I think 15 through, was it 19? Something, no, maybe it was like 17 to 19 or 16 to 19. Anyways, these teenage boys, for the 5 days leading up to Halloween, their parents actually take them and lock them in their bedrooms, do not give them any food, and they are not allowed to come out until Halloween night when they are going up against the October Boy. So they're starving, obviously, for 5 days, not eating. So once they defeat the October Boy, their prize is the candy that is within him once they win the game. So it's a really, really fun setup. There are a lot more details than that, but obviously I don't want to give everything away. So we are actually following the October Boy himself, and then we have another point of view from Pete McCormick, who is one of the teens. This is his first year going out on Halloween night to do what they call the run. So he's got a very specific plan set in mind. In his head, it's like he's either going to win this game or he is going to die. There is nothing in between. He's not compromising. He's not giving up. He wants to win because he wants to get out of this town. His mother is dead. His father is an alcoholic who has lost his job. So he's really over it. He has nothing for him in this town, and all he wants is to escape. So he is very, very determined to defeat the October Boy. But it's really fun because then we get the October Boy's point of view as well, and get to see his motivations and in his head what he's doing and why he's doing it, which I think is really, really interesting. I just feel like it's not very often that you have a book like this that has a creature and then you actually get to read from their perspective. So I'm really, really liking it. Loving the writing, loving the characters, love the setting. I love just, I don't know, just the whole setup and idea of the story is so fun. And I am in part 2 now, where we are getting more information and some secrets are being revealed, and Pete is learning that maybe not everything is what it seems, and that these people that he's grown up with and trusted his whole life, maybe they have been lying to him about some things. So I'm really, really excited to see how the story unfolds, what happens for our characters, and learn more about the tradition of the run and what it truly means to win this game, and what the October Boy, what his goal is. And I think it's definitely going to take us to a spot where we want to root for the October Boy, even though from the beginning or from the description maybe it sounds like he's supposed to be the villain. But I think we're definitely going to end up in a spot where we're rooting for him, and I'm hoping that we get to a point where the October Boy and Pete are working together, because I do think it's going to go in that direction, and I'm really, really excited to see it. So I'm going to eat my dinner now. Like I said, I'm starving, and then I'm going to keep reading this. It is going to be a relatively quick read, so I will be finishing it pretty soon, and I will come back and let you guys know my final thoughts. Maybe it'll be a 5-star. We'll see. This is my little Halloween kitty. If you didn't know, this is Molly. I adopted her on October 1st. So she's my October Halloween cat, and she's a black cat, so of course it works. She's really not vibing with that right now. Okay. Yes. She screams at me all the time. I don't know how this lighting is looking. I wanted the mood lighting. I have little skeletons over here in the kitchen. Anyways, I finished Dark Harvest. I think I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. There were a couple of points where it kind of felt like it dragged a little bit, so I don't think it really is fully deserving of that 5-star rating, but I did really enjoy it. And oh my gosh, I looked on Goodreads, and there's like, this is a controversial book. There are so many like people that are like, I hated this book. This was the worst thing I've ever read. And then there's like people like me that are like, oh my god, this was so fun, like such a cute little Halloween read. And truly, that's what it comes down to. It was a very quick and a very fun and interesting festive Halloween read for the holiday, and I really enjoyed it. Okay, I turned the light on so we're not just in the dark now. Something I really enjoyed about this that was once again very controversial on Goodreads apparently is the narration style. There are parts of it where the narrator is speaking directly to the reader. The narrator is like talking to you as if you are a character in the story and you've experienced the October Boy and you've experienced Halloween in this town, and I think that was really fun. So aside from the narration, I also really like the two perspectives that we're reading from and the way that it very like seamlessly transitions from one perspective of Pete to the other to the October Boy, and I really enjoyed it. All of the questions that I had that I mentioned in the last update did get answered, and I really like the direction that the story went. Overall, this was, I think, just a really fun read that I would definitely recommend to read for Halloween if you like things that are kind of like folk horror-ish and then obviously having to do with Halloween and fun traditions and the whole idea of like trick or treat but taken to a whole new level with very interesting characters and a really nice writing. Like, I really enjoyed the writing style of this one. So I think that's everything I have to say about Dark Harvest. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, I'm giving it 4.5 stars. I would definitely recommend this. This was a really fun Halloween read. It's on Kindle Unlimited, so you still have time to pick it up and read it for Halloween. I'm about to go to bed, but I wanted to give you guys a quick little update because I did start the last book. This is Mr. Glowbones and Other Halloween Tales by Ronald Kelly. This is a very short story collection. I've read 3 stories so far. They are pretty short. The first one was 20 pages, the second one was 10 pages, and then the third one was 4 pages. So it's been a pretty easy read. This one I am enjoying so far, and I really like the prologue. It's basically talking about being an adult and maybe outgrowing Halloween in certain ways, but deep down the Halloween traditions and the love for Halloween and the love for scary things is still in there, and I feel like I really relate to that because I love Halloween and I'm just having a good time. Also, there are cute little illustrations for each story. So the first story was called Mr. Glowbones, and it is about a decorative Halloween skeleton that comes to life and murders people. So we gotta keep an eye on that one. It was cute. I liked it. I think I'd give it 4 stars if I was gonna give it a rating. The second story was called The Outhouse, and here is the art for that. This is some teenagers getting into some shenanigans and giant killer bats that come out to play, and I think I give that one 3 stars. It was enjoyable. And then the last one that I just read, the one that was 4 pages, is called Billy's Mask. This is the little art for that one. I just think they're so cute. I'm sorry, I want to show them all. This was short and sweet, and you know, although it was predictable, I did enjoy it. So I think I'd give that one like 3.5 stars because it's not anything groundbreaking or anything that hasn't been done before, but it was cute. I liked it. And I'm just having a great time. Like, these are just almost like cozy Halloween reads where they're like silly. The writing is very simplistic. They are short and quick, and I'm just really enjoying it, just to bring like those spooky, just fun Halloween vibes. It's not meant to be very scary. It's just meant to be entertaining, and you know, these stories are so far following some pretty like classic patterns, but also have some really fun elements. So I'm enjoying it. I'm excited to keep reading. For now, I'm going to bed, but I'm going to finish this collection tomorrow. So I will give you guys my thoughts on each of the little stories as we go through. Good morning. It is the next day, and I wanted to give you a quick little update on Mr. Glowbones. I think the last story I talked to you guys was Billy's Mask. So since then I have read, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stories, and I think I have 3 stories left, so I just wanted to come in and do a little update before I finish it. It has been a super quick read so far. Like I already told you guys, it's short, and the stories themselves are very short as well, and they're just, like, most of them I feel like you could describe as short and sweet, even though, like, not all of the subject matter is sweet, but they're just short and sweet little stories. So the next one after Billy's Mask was called Pins and Needles, and this is about a guy who likes to tamper with Halloween candy and gets joy from hurting children, and he gets what he deserves in the end. I gave that one 4 stars. And then the next one was Black Harvest. I think this was probably my least favorite so far, just because it wasn't like my favorite type of story, but it's like, I don't know, this corn town, and when they're like shucking the corn, whoever finds the red ear of corn gets to kiss like the prettiest lady at the like harvest dance or whatever. And so the guy that gets it finds the prettiest lady, but not everything is as it seems. I gave that one 3 stars. And then we have Pelengrad's Pit, which was this old man that had this large pit on his property, and this little boy keeps visiting, and every time he's there he sees like remnants from a different year within the pit and something horrifying down there, so he tries to figure out what the real meaning behind the pit is, and eventually he does. That one I also gave 3 stars. Then the next one was called Mr. Mac and the Monster Mobile. This is about a guy who used to work as like a makeup artist in Hollywood, and now he has all of these cool like relics and props from horror movies, and he has them on a bus, and he just kind of has like a mobile museum where he goes around and shows all of these things to people. And we have 2 children that go to check it out, and some things happen to them. I gave it 3 stars because I did enjoy it, but I feel like the way it ended was too abrupt, and I wish there was a little bit more to that one. And then the last one I just read was the shortest. It was 2 pages, and it was called The Halloween Train, and it's about a kid and his dad getting on the Halloween train. I gave that one 3 stars because once again it was very, very short, so I feel like I didn't really have a whole lot of feelings towards it. Overall, I'm still enjoying the collection. It's definitely bringing like the perfect Halloween spooky vibes, where it's silly and light, but then it's still a little bit creepy. So like I said, I think I have 3 stories left, and I think on Kindle I have like 20 minutes left in the book. Okay, actually 13 minutes left in the book. So I'm gonna finish this real quick, and then I will come back to give you guys my final update very shortly. Molly's back again. So I finished Mr. Glowbones. The last 3 stories ended up not actually being like horror short stories like the rest of them. It was just kind of writings from the author talking about Halloween and reminiscing on Halloween's past. So I did not rate any of those because obviously they're not really stories to be rated. It's just kind of this guy writing about Halloween, which is cool. You know, reflecting, having that nostalgic feeling. But while we're here to wrap it up, I figured we can find out what my average rating is. That's what I do for all short story collections pretty much, is I go through and I give each single story a rating, and then I calculate the average. So most of these were 3 stars, so I'm sure it's going to be somewhere around there. Okay, let's put the cat down. Okay, so I'm just adding everything up right now. Okay, and my average rating comes out to, I don't even know if you can see that, 3.3125. So I guess if I were to give it a star rating, it would probably be like 3.5 stars. I think it was fun. I think it was cute. I would definitely recommend picking it up for Halloween. And I think I would recommend every book that I've read in here. It all went pretty well, so I'm really, really glad about that. We have just a few more days before Halloween now, so happy Halloween from me. I hope you are having the best reading month and getting all those spooky vibes that you have been after. With all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you guys next time. You have to like stand like in the doorway and just like peek out a little bit. Yeah, the way it's like, it's just gonna be like one sentence ends and then I come back and I'm just like, okay, now what was I saying? I'm not gonna be able to focus now. So aside from the narration, I also really like the 2 okay. I'm just like thinking about you back there.